Same packaging, same price. So where did the goods go? The hidden truth of shrinkflation. At 9 o'clock at night, a family's monthly grocery shopping reached home. The same biscuit, detergent and shampoo, almost the same bill. But hidden inside that bag was an inflation that wasn't showing up on the receipt. A few days later, the mother noticed that the children's biscuit packet finished very quickly. She thought the children might have eaten more. Then the detergent and shampoo also finished earlier than expected. Becoming suspicious, she took out an old packet lying in the cupboard. The color, logo and MRP were almost the same. But in small letters, the old weight said 200 grams, while the new packet was showing only 170 grams. She had looked at the price, product and offer, so how did the change escape her sight? And if this is happening across the entire shopping basket, how much more is the family actually paying? This is where shrinkflation enters the story. It means the reduction of a product's quantity, weight, volume or count, while the price of the packet remains the same, decreases very little or sometimes even increases along with it. Ordinary inflation attacks from the front. A 50 rupees item becomes 55 rupees. Shrinkflation comes through the back door. The 50 rupees sticker remains, but the goods received inside quietly decrease. This discussion is even more necessary at a time when MoSPI's June 2026 data recorded India's retail inflation at 4.38% and food inflation at 5.32%. But the headline number does not tell the story of your every packet. When the price increases, the customer immediately compares, changes the brand, or postpones the purchase. But if the weight decreases, their attention often doesn't go there, because the brain decides in the supermarket not by reading every label but by recognition and habit. We don't look at a packet like a weighing scale. We recognize its color, height, familiar design, and its old spot on the shelf. Therefore, if the packaging remains almost the same, even a lesser quantity can feel like the old product. This is why the change is often not dramatic. The bottle might be a little thinner, the soap a little lighter, fewer sheets in the roll, one less unit in the multi-pack, but the image in front remains so familiar that the question doesn't even arise. For companies, price points like 5 rupees, 10 rupees, 20 rupees, 50 rupees, or 100 rupees can be extremely important. The customer remembers these easy prices, the retailer arranges shelves based on them, and a small packet keeps the impulse purchase alive. But calling this just greed would be incomplete. If raw material, fuel, transport, packaging, and labor costs rise, a manufacturer faces choices to increase the price, reduce the margin, change the recipe, or reduce the quantity. The real question is more about transparency than intention. The cost pressure can be real, but does the customer understand that they are getting less than before? This is where business decisions and consumer trust come face to face. Retail shelves have their own psychology. If competing brands stay stuck at 10 rupees, a company writing 12 rupees can look expensive. Therefore, if it saves the 10 rupees mark and reduces the grams, the field of comparison can remain in its favor. This is why packs like 950, 900 or 850 grams instead of 1 kilogram, 450 grams instead of 500, and 180 or 170 grams instead of 200 appear. The size changed, but the old benchmark still sits in the mind. Now look at that hidden calculation where the entire game unfolds. Suppose a 500-gram packet used to be available for 100 rupees. Its unit price was 200 rupees per kilogram. The new packet is 450 grams, yet the price is still 100 rupees. At first glance, the quantity decreased by only 10%. But the new unit price became around 222 rupees per kilogram, meaning the real inflation is almost 11%. By whatever percentage the weight decreases, the unit price doesn't always increase by that same percentage but by more than that. That is why a 20% quantity cut does not mean 20% inflation. If the quantity drops from 100 to 80 at the same price, the cost per unit increases by 25%. This is that mathematical trap of shrinkflation which the sticker hides. Now look at the packet that went from 200 grams to 170 grams. The quantity decreased by 15%, but the cost per gram at the same price increased by almost 17%. The customer saw 30 grams less, but the impact on the budget turned out to be bigger than that small difference. The difference in one packet will seem minor. But if this same change happens in biscuits, tea, detergent, soap and shampoo, the items will have to be bought again sooner. The real blow will be seen not at the checkout, but in the replacement frequency. Therefore, shrinkflation is not just a story of snacks. It can be seen in chocolate, noodles, spices, coffee, cleaning products, personal care, tissue rolls, pet food and even multi-packs, where the quantity changes in grams, milliliters, pieces, sheets or uses. Yet every small packet is not shrinkflation. A company can launch a separate travel pack, trial pack or a low-price SKU, while the old pack also exists. The real identification happens when the smaller pack replaces the old equivalent. This is not just a complaint from people, it has also been seen in statistical records. Between September 2015 and June 2017, the UK Office for National Statistics identified 206 shrinking and 79 growing products. Most changes were in the food category. The story did not end by becoming old. An October 2025 marketing science study found about 2% of products downsized in US scanner data. In terms of sales, downsizing was more than 5 times higher than upsizing. A more uncomfortable part of that same research was that buyers respond more to a price change than to a size change. Meaning, the very reaction a company wants to avoid, the weakness of human attention can guide them down that exact path. We are also weak at correctly estimating volume. If one dimension of a pack reduces slightly, the base is pushed inward, or the empty space increases, the outer silhouette doesn't change much. The eye sees the shape, but the wallet buys the quantity. The trick becomes even trickier in multi-packs. The family pack written on the outside can remain the same, but there might be 10 units inside instead of 12. The tissue roll might look just as tall, but have fewer sheets. Count therefore becomes just as important as weight. Sometimes even the unit changes. One detergent might say 25 washes, another is sold in grams. A toilet paper tells the count of rolls, but the sheet size is different. Therefore, just looking at a big number does not make a fair comparison. The harshest version comes when the size decreases first, and a few months later the price increases too. The customer gets hit twice, first in quantity then on the sticker, but the old memory only remembers the initial price. Offers blur this memory. Seeing new pack, extra value or a discount can make the buyer excited, while the base quantity has already changed. Even if the discount is real, a comparison with the old pack can tell a different story. Here the difference between inflation and shrinkflation is clear. In inflation, the same quantity becomes expensive. In shrinkflation, the quantity decreases at the same or almost the same price. The ultimate result of both is the same, paying more for every gram, milliliter or piece. A third form is called skimpflation. In this, the weight might not decrease, but an expensive ingredient could be reduced, the service weakened, or the quality lowered. The quantity label won't catch this, only the ingredients list and actual experience will give a sign. A restaurant portion getting smaller or features reducing in a service plan can also feel like this same logic. Still, packaged goods shrinkflation is easy to measure because the old and new net quantities can be directly compared. But it is important to break a big myth. Shrinkflation can hide from the eyes, but it doesn't necessarily hide from inflation statisticians. A proper price index can catch the per unit change by normalizing the product size, otherwise the comparison will remain incomplete. This is why the US Bureau of Labor Statistics runs a separate research series on downsizing and upsizing. The UK's 2026 scanner data methodology also standardizes grocery prices according to unit weight. The invisibility is in our shopping habit, not in the mathematics. Now come to the law in India, because this is where the biggest confusion remains. On a pre-packaged commodity covered under the legal metrology framework, declarations like information of the manufacturer or packer, generic name, net quantity, MRP, and consumer care details are mandatory. Net quantity does not mean the weight including the packet. According to legal metrology rules and FAQs, the wrapper and packaging material are not included in the declared weight. Meaning, if 500 grams is written, the amount of the product is what matters. MRP is the maximum retail price, which includes taxes. A seller can sell at less than that, but not above it in a normal retail sale. Therefore, same MRP is only a ceiling. It does not tell the value inside. The rules also have a unit sale price declaration so that different sizes can be compared. When looking at the unit price according to weight, volume or count, the difference between 450 and 500 grams immediately converts into rupees. Another turning point is that an odd quantity is not a violation in itself. After the old limits on standard quantities were removed, many goods can come in various pack sizes. Therefore, looking at 850 grams and calling it illegal would be wrong. It is necessary to see the correct declaration. So is shrinkflation legal? The general answer is, If the new quantity and price are declared clearly, correctly, and according to the applicable rules, merely making a pack smaller is not illegal by itself. But the story does not end here. If a packet declares 500 grams and actually turns out to be much less, the declaration is missing, the sale is above the MRP, or the presentation is materially misleading, then the matter is different. That is not shrinkflation, it can become a possible short weight labeling or consumer law violation. It is not right to feel deceived just by seeing big packaging. Some products need headspace for protection, sealing, or transport. In fragile snacks, empty space can save the product. The real evidence is the net weight, not the air. This is the reason a decision cannot be made by pressing a chips packet. Compare the old and new net weight, price, and date. Only if the bag is the same, but the grams have permanently decreased and the effective price has increased, will the comparison be strong. A smaller portion can sometimes be useful too, for lower upfront spending, portion control, or less food waste. But the benefit is real only when the price is proportionately fair and the buyer understands the size change. Choice and concealment are not the same thing. This is where the ethical line is drawn. The company has to manage costs, and the consumer has to manage the budget. Both needs are real. The conflict arises when a familiar design gives the impression of the old value, while the new economics is hidden in fine print. The first way to catch this game is very simple. Keep the old empty packet of a frequently purchased product for some time. On the next purchase, take a side-by-side photo of the MRP, net quantity, manufacturing date, and unit price. The evidence, not memory, will begin to speak. The second way is to make a small price log in the phone. Not every day, just 10 essential items, things like atta, oil, tea, detergent, soap. If you write the grams or liters along with the price, the pattern will come forward as soon as the pack changes. The third way is calculation. Divide the total price by the total quantity. A 450-gram packet for 90 rupees costs 20 rupees per 100 grams. A 500-gram packet for 96 rupees costs 19 rupees and 20 paise. A pack with an expensive sticker can actually turn out to be cheaper. Therefore, the biggest pack is not always the best value, and the smallest pack is not always the most expensive. Company promotions, retailer discounts, and different formulations can change the results. Making a comparison on the same product and the same measurement unit every time is the only safe way. Don't get influenced by the old MRP the moment you hear 20% off. First see the current net quantity, then calculate the discounted unit price. It is possible that even after the offer, the new small pack is more expensive per gram than the previous regular pack. Buy 2 get 1 is also a value only when the total quantity and final payment are counted together. If there is more stock than needed at home, expiry, or overconsumption, the mathematical discount fails to turn into a practical saving. Relying on the picture in online shopping can be even more dangerous, because the image can be old and the listing new. Read the product title, net quantity, price, and seller details before checkout. Match the received pack with the order description upon delivery. Now understand the truth of a monthly budget. If a household writes down only prices, the quantity loss will remain missing. But the moment you add how many days it lasted, the pattern will appear. Why is that same 100 rupees product now being bought 3 times a month instead of 2? Changing the brand is not always the right answer. An alternative can be cheaper, but the taste, performance, or waste can be different. A better comparison is the cost per useful outcome in terms of cups of tea, washes, servings, or days of use. Keep the quality in mind too. If the order of the ingredients list, the nutrition panel, the concentration, and usage instructions have changed, then grams alone are not enough. Sometimes a small concentrated product gives more uses. Sometimes an expensive ingredient has decreased within the same weight. If a suspected violation is found, do not throw away the packet. Keep the bill, batch number, MRP, declared weight, a reliable measurement of the actual weight, and clear photos safe. A social media allegation without evidence can become noise. A complaint with evidence can initiate action. The first contact can be made through the manufacturer's or brand's printed consumer care channel. Keep the question direct. What is the old and new quantity? When did the change happen? And how much did the unit price change? A written reply becomes a useful record in a later complaint. If a solution is not found, a grievance can be registered on India's National Consumer Helpline. The toll-free number 1915 is also available. For a legal metrology issue, taking the evidence to the concerned state authority can be the next step. Some countries made the disclosure more visible. Steps like a shrinkflation notice for large retailers in France and information on quantity reduction in South Korea came along. The message is clear. The fight is not over size but over informed choice. Regulation alone is not enough because a label can remain ignored. The market changes when buyers ask for the unit price, retailers show the comparison, and brands understand that a hidden change can damage long-term trust for short-term margins.
If this video has taught you something new, or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible, but in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.